Well, the National Prosecuting Authority has announced a new joint task force with the Hawks to deal with the findings made by the state capture inquiry. The authority's response comes after Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo accused the NPA of failing to respond to state capture and corruption. The task force will carry out an urgent review of all cases covered in Zondo's findings. While the NPA makes new promises, Tourism Minister Lindiwe Sisulu criticised the judiciary this week and accused judges of being mentally colonized. She has also received a tongue lashing from Zondo. Well, for more on the fight for state capture convictions and the ongoing drama around our courts, let's chat to Karam Singh, Executive Director of Corruption Watch. Karam, thank you so much for joining us. Let's start with the new task force first. Look, the state capture unit that was working under Hermione Cronje seemed to have left her extremely frustrated due to lack of resources and cooperation from other staff from within the NPA. How different is this task team going to possibly be?
Well, I think that remains to be seen. I think in general, the statement from the NPA is a positive one. We would expect the NPA to have already started a process of engaging with the findings that were coming out of the Zondo Commission. It's been 3 years, so I wouldn't expect that this task team is something which is just a direct reaction to the report. But, although the full story hasn't come out in terms of Advocate Cronje's frustrations, we do know that the NPA has battled in terms of being hollowed out in the period of state capture, that there were issues around their capacity to run multiple complex prosecutions at the same time. And we also know that the NPA has had their budget, cut over recent years. So I think the task team is a positive development. Obviously, it's going to have to be coordination between the DPCI and other, key law enforcement agencies that reside within the fusion center. Hopefully this will be the NPA will be able to turn a page here and use the findings of the Zondo Commission to now really show that they can execute their mandate without fear, favor, or prejudice.
Karam, if there's a new task force and it's in cooperation with the Hawks and the NPA, it sounds very much like the old Scorpions model, doesn't it?
Well, I think, the Scorpions model was very much about prosecution-led investigations. And, in this recent moment, I think since Shamila Batoy has come in and when Hermione Cronje was there, they both spoke, quite passionately about the importance of this model, the importance of strict alignment between prosecutors and investigators, because we know that when there's a handoff in the criminal justice system, between prosecutors, between investigators and then to prosecutors, that's often where cases fall down. Investigators may think that they've got a watertight case, and then the prosecutors get the case and they see challenges. So absolutely this Scorpions model, which, if we go back to the Kempepe Commission, is absolutely constitutional, is absolutely the way to go going forward. So yeah, we would expect to see a prosecution-led investigations to see accountability from the state capture cases.
Karam, can you just explain to viewers how different the test is of evidence gathered at the Commission against evidence that's needed by the NPA to go ahead with a successful prosecution? The test is quite different in the standard.
Yeah, I think it's critical that, within any criminal case that you've got to prove your case beyond a reasonable doubt. There's a whole jurisprudence around evidence and in terms of criminal procedure about what needs to happen. So it's not like the prosecutors from the NPA can just take the report from the Zondo Commission and say, this is our evidence. They're going to have testimony from witnesses. Evidence that came before the Zondo Commission is going to have to be independently verified. So it wasn't a criminal standard of beyond a reasonable doubt that the Judicial Commission of Inquiry proceeded with its work. So absolutely, it's a higher standard. And I think the NPA acknowledges that in the statement that they released.
Karam, let's move to Lindiwe Sisulu's comments about the judiciary. I'm interested in the timing of it, considering that there are a whole lot of WhatsApps going around on ANC WhatsApp groups where she is leading the slate for the RET so-called faction against Cyril Ramaphosa come conference. What do you think of the timing of her editorial that she wrote recently?
Well, it's difficult to say. I mean, some have called this now the beginning of the silly season leading up to the party conference, which is only in December. So I do think we'll see lots of different posturing from politicians over this period as they have one eye on that elective conference and their future leadership roles. So I don't think the timing is accidental. I think it comes in a moment where, we're beginning to engage with what needs to happen following the release of the report. And these types of attacks on the judiciary and, placing the issues around the rule of law in doubt doesn't take us forward, doesn't help us in what the NPA calls the Herculean task of prosecuting these cases. So I think, arguably the timing is mischievous, but only Minister Sisulu can really answer that question as to why she would choose to enter the fray at this moment with those types of allegations.
Thank you so much. That was Karam Singh from Corruption Watch. Thank you for your time this